Welcome to Phil and Dave's Excellent Adventures. Just Dave here. Today I'm talking about the movie Monkey Man. This is going to be a spoiler review, so if you are concerned about spoilers, I would suggest you go ahead and watch the movie first before you watch this review. So Monkey Man is Dev Patel's directorial debut. It's an action movie about an anonymous young man who unleashes a campaign of vengeance against the corrupt leaders who murdered his mother and continue to systematically victimize the poor and powerless. That's the synopsis. As far as what I liked about the movie overall, thought the cast was good. I liked Dev Patel as the main kid, Monkey Man, Bobby, whatever you want to call him. First thing I saw him in was Slumdog Millionaire, like I think most people probably. He was also in The Green Knight, The Avatar, the last Airbender movie from, 10, 15 years ago. Charlton Copley, always fun. He's a South African actor. First thing I saw him in was District 9, right? But he was also in the A-Team remake. He's been in a bunch of other stuff that one movie they did that was all first person perspective. I forget what it was called. Yeah, good stuff. That was something Hardcore Henry. I think that was it. Yeah. Charlton Copley's always good. I really enjoyed him in this. I like the actor Peter Bosch as Alfonso. I'm not familiar with him. I hadn't seen him in anything before, but he was funny as the sort of comic relief kind of character. I liked Vipin Sharma as Alpha. I'm not sure if I'm saying any of these names right. I'm not really familiar with most of these actors. Sikandar Kher as Rana Singh. I liked Subita Dupilala as Sita, Ashwini Kalstar as Queenie Kapoor, uh, Makaran Deshpande as Baba Shakti, and I really liked Zakir Hussain as the tabla maestro. He was a really cool character. I really liked that instrument. It's a cool instrument. Um, there we go. So, as far as that, other than that, I had cinematography that was really good. It was done by Sharon Mayer, who did Whiplash, Silent Night, Mean Creek. I like the music in this too. It was done by Jed Kurzel, who did The Babadook, Slow West, Alien Covenant. Soundtrack in this one was really cool, really interesting. There was some like classic rock stuff in there, like Jefferson Airplane. I think Don't You Want Somebody to Love? The Police, Roxanne is in there, and then there's a lot of hip hop, a lot of like Indian hip hop that I'm not really too familiar with, but I really kind of liked it. I'm not a big hip hop fan necessarily, but like the Indian stuff was kind of cool. It was different. It was interesting. It was like different beats. There's also some boring American hip hop where it's the same mumble rap bullshit with the same trap beats that every rap song has used for the last 10 years, and they all sound the same. But the Indian rap stuff I thought was actually pretty cool. Again, I really liked the tabla player. I thought he was just really interesting, the way that he played it and the noises he was able to make with it and the way they used it as part of like a training montage for his character. That was all pretty cool stuff. I like the fight choreography. I thought a lot of the fight choreography was really well done, really well executed. It looked believable. A lot of it was very brutal. There's one scene where Dev Patel's fighting a guy and he like bites his nose like a couple times. He like bites part of his nose off. Just a great, really cool, brutal scene. There's a lot of like that kind of stuff that I really, really enjoyed. There's this window scene where he's like running away and he goes to jump through a window and he just bangs into it and falls off. And it's really funny because that's probably what would actually happen. I like there's a little car chase scene that I thought was really fun too. I like that little car that he's got, or I guess it's Alfonso's car, his little Nicki Minaj car or whatever. But like, yeah, it was a fun little car chase scene. I sort of enjoyed it. And I really like the overall kind of themes and ideas to it. Everything with the economic inequality, the religious oppression, corruption, discrimination, the whole caste system issue. And they even go into like trans rights, which I didn't expect, but that was cool. And I enjoyed seeing that. I don't know much about India. I know like Gandhi and the Taj Mahal, and that's about it. So like finding out about this, this kind of stuff, and I always enjoy finding out about new cultures. So like, yeah, this is really interesting. I don't know how much of this is based on real life, or like if there really is a Baba Shakti character in India or somebody like that. I assume there probably is. We've got a ton of them here. Kenneth Copeland, Joel Osteen, Oprah. But either way, yeah, I did enjoy all of that, and I thought it was good. And I agreed with everything in the movie, and it's always good to see movies that talk about stuff like that. First, what I disliked about the movie, I think the biggest issue I have with the movie is its treatment of women. Basically, his mother is in the movie as sort of an impetus for him to go on to this tragedy, this tragic thing that happens to him to sort of make him the person who he is. And I don't know, that to me always bothers me. It's something that I know has been going on for a long, long time. And growing up in the 80s, a lot of movies did that. A lot of times women were used as motivation, either because they were murdered or abused or taken hostage or kidnapped or something like that. And I really feel like we, especially now in 2024, owe it to ourselves to do more, to give women more to do in movies than just to have them be, brutalized for the character to have some sort of character development or something like that. And there are some other women in it too, but then there's the one girl, Sita, I think is her name, who's basically she's in it. She's a pretty young woman, but that's about it. She doesn't really have much else going on. And I really think they could have done some more with her character. The only woman who really has any agency or any kind of motivation is Queenie, who is a human trafficker. So she's a terrible, terrible person, but she's the only one who actually has somewhat of a not even really an arc, but at least she's got something going on, and she's not just a window lamp, which is what most of the women are in this movie, unfortunately. They use the song Roxanne by the Police. Good song, I like it, but a little on the nose when you're like showing women in a brothel or whatever, sex workers, and you're playing a song about a sex worker. Like, okay, we get it, but like little on the nose, man. Maybe come up with something else there. Another really big issue I have with this movie was there's a lot of shaky cam. I don't know again why in 2024 we're still doing shaky cam. Nobody likes it. I've literally never in my entire life met a person who was like, "Oh, I really like the way they shook the camera around like that. That was crazy." Now there are times when it can be useful. I know like Paul Greengrass was one of the guys who I first kind of became familiar with the technique from. He did it in like Sunday Bloody Sunday, and then like the Born Identity or Born Supremacy and the Born whatever, the second and third Born movies. And there, it can be useful. There's times where if you're in a tight alleyway or if you're in a situation like that, it can be actually very useful and can kind of help to add to it. But sometimes, especially in this movie, it's just confusing and it's annoying. And there's times too where they're fighting where they break the 180, which is something you're not really supposed to do. You can do it. And like The Matrix does it really well in some of their fight scenes, especially the first one with Lawrence Fishburne and Keanu Reeves. But in this one, they do it a couple times in like the big fight scene with Baba Shakti, where it's like you almost lose track of who is who. And luckily, they look different enough; it's easy to tell the difference. One's got big hair, one's got shorter hair. But it's a little like okay, just bad filmmaking in some way. And there's a lot of close shots too, a lot of like very claustrophobic kind of close shots. And some are done for a reason. Some are done because they're recreating what he saw when he was hiding behind the wall or whatever the wood slats, and so he was just seeing through the slats, and that does make sense. And sometimes it can be done to again convey this sort of sense of claustrophobia or tightness, but sometimes it seems like it's just done for no good reason, or it was just frustrating for me. In particular, there's a scene early on where they sort of show. I don't even remember if it was drugs or something, but they showed something moving around a bunch of people, and there's this very loud Indian hip hop music playing, and it really distracted me and it bothered me because the music was just way too loud. The sound mixing of this movie, they need to turn the music down. It's way too. It was to the point where it was like causing me anxiety almost. I was like kind of start. I almost wanted to leave because the music was so fucking loud and it was all these like close up like annoying kind of things, and I'm just like, dude, I can't handle this. It was too much for me. And also like the car chase, it's the fun car chase, but too much close up, too much shaky stuff. And I know you got to do that to cover the actors. You don't want to actually put the actors in the car. Sometimes you do the bad shaky cam stuff for fight choreography when again the actor's not quite up to what you need there. But again, the fight choreography looks good here. They didn't need to do that. What happened to the dog? There's this adorable little dog who shows up and he starts feeding the dog, and then the girl's like, "Stop feeding that dog." And then the dog just disappears. And I'm like, okay, what was the point of that? Like, I really wish they could have done more with that. The girl could have adopted the dog. He could have adopted the dog. The dog could have come back in the end. They could have done something there. Again, they could have done so much more with that woman. She could have been, she could have been transgender. She could have been, somehow involved with it. They could have done anything with that character instead of just here's a random attractive woman. I don't know. The guard was just sleeping on the job. That's just to me kind of lazy writing. Like I always stick by you can use a coincidence to put your character in a bad situation, but not to take him out of a bad situation. If you do that, that's bad writing. And that to me, I'm like, unless I missed something and he somehow knocked the guy out or gave the guy sleeping pills in or something, but just, oh, the guard was asleep. Okay. Why even have the guard there then? I don't understand that at all. And then there's this whole thing where he's got the bleach in his hands and he says that's why his hands are messed up. But you find out later it's because his mom was burned and he tried to save her or whatever. But then he like takes the monkey mask and he like dips it in bleach, so it's like bleached, and now it's like this bleached white monkey mask. And I'm like, okay, cool, I kind of get that. It's like Gandalf the Grey becoming Gandalf the White. Like it's this this new thing. Now he's got this new mask. He's this new kind of guy. And then he walks up, and the first two guys he sees, he immediately takes the mask off and throws it on the ground. Why did you wear the mask in the first place? What is going on here? It didn't make any sense. I'm just like, okay, it's kind of funny in a way, but was that the point? Was it? I don't know. Why did they do that? I didn't get that. And then I always hate religious themes. I'm always a little more tolerant when it's not Christianity because that's what was forced down my throat my entire life. But again, with this movie, like, I get it. There's religious stuff and they talk about God loves us and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but God doesn't exist. And even if they do, they don't give a fuck about you. So, I mean, I realize you have a terrible life and that's what gets you through the day, but like, I don't know, the movie like literally ends with it saying like God loves you or something about God. And I'm like, okay, it's a shitty fucking note to end a movie on. Way to piss me off, at least, or anyone else who's like me, I guess, who's violently anti-religious. But I'm just like, all right, fuck you, dude. Like, if you wanted to make a movie about God, you should have told me that going into it. Then I at least I just wouldn't have gone, honestly. Not that it really pissed me off that much, but still, it always pisses me off. Like, get your fucking God shit out of here. I hate that. Other than that, movie is directed by Dev Patel. It's his first movie that he's directed. He did a couple shorts before this, but this is his first like full length feature movie. It was written by Patel, who also he wrote a couple of the shorts he did. One was called Roborovsky, something like that, and also Paul Agunawela and John Collee. Paul Agunawela worked on Keith Lemon and Keith Lemon's Fit. I don't know what those are. I think they are foreign. And John Collee, he worked in the Master and Commander movie with what's his name, Russell Crowe. He also worked in the Boy Swallows Universe movie Lee, which I liked that movie. And he also wrote on that Roborovsky movie that Patel directed the short. Budget on this one, $10 million. So really, really low budget, honestly. Box office on this one has made 12 million so far. So it's probably going to do fine. It's probably going to be profitable because it costs so little to make. I did read that to save money, they filmed this stuff on like iPhones and like GoPros and like the cheapest thing they could find, basically. Rotten Tomato scores in this one are really good. The 88% for critics, 83% for audiences. So maybe the critics like it a little bit more, but pretty close. Most people who see this seem to like it. The movie was supposed to be shot in India, but there were some issues with COVID-19 and the pandemic and all that. So they ended up shooting most of it in Indonesia, which, hey, I didn't know. I don't know anything. I'm an idiot, but I didn't realize it was Indonesia. That's pretty cool. The initial score was done by Volker Bertelmann. And then at some point they wanted to release the movie in India. They, after seeing the movie, decided it was maybe too violent and they didn't like some of the themes. So they instead were going to send it to Netflix. Netflix then, once they got the rights to it, had the score redone by Jed Kurzel. And then Jordan Peele saw the movie and he decided he liked it and didn't want it to go straight to Netflix. And so he released it under his Monkey's Paw banner. So, okay, that's fine. I will say that Monkey's Paw banner, and there's a couple other ones, they have the title cards at the beginning, and it's so freaking long that I'm like, okay, is this the movie or is this? Oh, no, it's just the title card. Okay, all right. A little weird, but okay. And then, yeah, Dev Patel actually suffered a number of injuries while filming this. He broke his hand, I think, in the first fight scene that they shot. He also had a couple of broken toes, a torn shoulder, and an eye infection. So pretty serious. It's funny too, that first fight, I really didn't like it very much because I didn't like the way it was shot. Because again, shaky cam too close, and I was like, between that and that extremely loud song early on, I was like, I was not liking the beginning of this movie. I did come around to it eventually, and it got better. But yeah, and I really think the movie was marketed as like a John Wick type movie. I think it's even called like John Wick in India or something like that. And there's certainly some John Wick aspects to this, the revenge stuff and all of that. And there's even a puppy in this. But I would say it's actually much closer to like The Crow than John Wick. And I really like The Crow, the original from '94. And I'm sure it's going to be a hell of a lot better than that terrible looking remake that's coming out later this year. So, as far as the score on this one, I like this movie. I thought it was pretty good. I liked it more than I expected. Honestly, when I first saw the trailer, I was like, sorry, not buying it, kid. I saw you try to do action in Avatar and I didn't believe it. But no, I mean, I think eventually I warmed up to it, and I'm actually glad I went to see it because I did really like it. Other than again, it's just really terrible treatment of women. And just besides that, good movie and the shaky cam. I enjoyed it. But if you saw the movie, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great night, and I will see you here again next week.